morning, people. So this time what we're doing, we are installing the drive shaft that you guys saw me recondition and get that together. We're installing that now. Me personally right now, what I'm trying to do, and I've been trying to get it done so that way I can take it to the dyno and it not just blow up and want to whip off and decapitate somebody. So I didn't want to show up, you know, half-assed to the dyno, so I wanted to get it installed so that way I can start doing this dyno process. So on top of y'all see me run the quarter miles that y'all see me run, you'll also see dyno pulls to actually get like other numbers other than the quarter mile numbers. You'll get to see power numbers just to see with what we're doing, the modifications and how it's helping. Now I don't want anybody to think that this is like solely performance channel only. I mean, of course it's something, it's in my soul, so I'm going to do it, but don't get discouraged pretty much in thinking that, oh, you know, this guy's doing it for performance purposes. The stuff that you see me do as far as the drive shaft, cross member, stuff like that, from a cool factor, or even just because it needs to be done and just rebuilding a stock truck that you're trying to rebuild or get roadworthy. So a lot of the stuff that I did is based off of that. So same thing here, getting the drive shaft in, take it on a test drive, and the goal is to be able to make sure that I can be in third gear, because when you are dynoed, usually do third gear, because third gear is the one where it's a 1-to-1 ratio. So as long as I can go into third gear, make a pull in redline without the drive shaft seeming like it wants to fall apart, then I should be fine. That's what we're getting into, so check it out. Okay, so I mean, I wouldn't recommend this for anybody. Once again, I'm under the gun. I don't have too much time. I bought a lot of this stuff in advance to get this job done, and a lot of it I can't find because I bought it so long ago. And then plus, being in a small house and not having space or really room to work, I mean, it's bad enough. I can't even work in the development anymore, even though I clean up behind myself very thoroughly. So I gotta drive out to the main road. But anyway, I got everything. I believe I do. Hopefully when I go over and do start the process, I have everything I need. It usually doesn't work that way, and I end up having to walk all the way back into the development to get to the house to carry it back to the car, or I could just hop in the minivan. I mean, it's here, but we'll see. And it's probably gonna have to happen in two different, I guess, parts. I'm gonna have to jack up the front to do the front tail shaft housing, which we'll look at it. I have another video actually showing how to do that, so I'm not gonna show you guys how to do it. And I also have to put in the front part of the drive shaft and the cross member. And then I think on the second part, when I have to drop the front of the truck down and bring the behind up, then I can install the rear section, which shouldn't be too crazy. But we'll see how that goes. I should have it all. Let's see. All right, so I got my jack stands. I got the freaking greaser here. That goes on the Zerk fitting. That goes on the end of the drive shaft there. And what the heck else? Got the tool to press the bearings in and out and put the output shaft seal. This is the tool to do that. Of course, I got my hammers and other stuff inside of here. The slicks are in the freaking way, and I have the rear section of the drive shaft, got the cross member, and the front section is down there. So just to drive over and try to get set up. All right, so this is the center carrier bearing, cross member or whatever. So I'll weigh this first just to see what this one is, and then I'll weigh everything else and try to balance it as best as possible. Hold on. All right, hold on. I'm gonna do it one more time, but that's probably right. Once it goes away, eventually. All right. Second time. Yep, alright, so that's pretty accurate. So we can say like 12 pounds, I guess. And this one I think I can get the balance. 17 on the dot. I think that's accurate. But I'm gonna do it one more time just on the safe side. Because that's what it was where I did a rough try. There we go. It's definitely 17. There's no way fans about to buy it. Alright, I think this is about right. But I'll do one more time. Yep. Boom. Alright, so now I gotta add it together. See if the heck it comes out to.
What was the math?
Trying to remember. No.
It was 18.6.
So 18.6 was that one. That thing is 12.4. The center cross member crap. And what was the other one?
17.
Yes. $48. All right, so close to 50 pounds. I just rounded up to 50 pounds. That works. Okay, so got the drive shaft out. I was going to start off with replacing the rear seal and the bushing and unbolting the tail shaft housing because I did replace it not too long ago. If you saw that video, it really wasn't that long ago. I want to say a few months ago, probably. It's probably trashed by the way that it's been feeling, well, whatever issue it is that I have to fix. But if I can't get this cross member right here to fit in here with my homemade exhaust right where these bolt holes go, then that's a problem. So before I go any further, I think I'm going to try to install this cross member first, and if I can get that in there, then we're in business. Okay, so fast forward, I just did a test fit to see if it'll go. Now, this one is kind of sitting in place close, but like I thought, my homemade exhaust is the problem. So I'm gonna have to work around it. I'm loosening up pretty much the different bands and whatnot along the way, and the salt really did a number on my truck, man. Like, I mean, it's not super bad, but at the same time I can see it. Like, as I'm taking these bolts off, the salt's still there. Like, it's, I don't know if you can see it here. That's freaking wild. So I'm gonna have to like go somewhere that has a power washer. Look at that, even over here. But anyway, I'm gonna loosen up on both sides. Got to do it on this side. I already started it on this side, and hopefully it's enough where when I do lift this thing up, it's actually going to clear this cross member here. And if not, I'm in trouble. Okay, so this job is getting kind of wild, but I mean, kind of thought this was going to be the case. The way I had the exhaust ran was, it was cool. It was solid. Cost minimal dollars, but it was friendly to the one-piece drive shaft setup. So, got to do quite a bit of changes. As you can see, the exhaust is out. I'm gonna have to rerun it and cut some pieces, do some measuring to make it work out. But I guess at least what I can do, and thank God I'm off tomorrow, at least what I can do is actually start this thing, get the tail shaft housing off, and replace all the pieces, put it back on. Then I can get the carrier bearing cross member back in, bolt that in, and I can actually install the drive shaft. But once I do that, then I have to worry about the exhaust. So I'm gonna get these things lined up, get these bolts in, keep it moving. Dang. All right, I'm running out of light, man. But got the crossbar in. I just have to do a final tighten on these bolts. And once the final tighten is done on these bolts, that'll be in for good. But since I do pretty much have it in place, now I'm going to move on and try to knock out this tail shaft housing, so I can actually get the drive shaft installed. And I'll probably end up getting to this exhaust tomorrow, which is gonna suck, but whatever. Okay, so I am officially out of time. But this thing here, you saw me do it before, but this time I actually have a new rubber seal here since I'm disturbing it again. And surprisingly, the inner race, whatever, I forgot, wasn't in bad condition. But it was still leaking, of course. So hopefully after all of this is done and new and in place, no more leaks. That'd be nice. Okay, this bad boy's in. All right, so now that this is in, I'm about to grab the front portion of the drive shaft, get the slip yoke in place, and then once that's in, secure it to the rear. All right, so get this new boot off to show the new hotness. Woo! Y'all heard that pop? Come on, find the keyway. Oh, there we go, finally. Wow. All right, so now that this thing has found its home, we're gonna switch over to the rear. All right, so here's the rear section. One thing that I didn't show you guys is that I actually cleaned up and wire wheeled the original cover for the carrier bearing. That's why it kind of looks like pitted right there. But hit it with a few coats of paint, because on the opposite side, this one has like a hood on it that the other one doesn't have. And I think that hood kind of gives it extra protection against like water getting in the bearings or anything like that. So I figured why not clean it up, put it back on, and that's that. All right, so now the goal is to get these bolts to line up here and push it into the trans enough. There we go. To get these bolts in place. And of course, me being Mr. Overkill, got these grade 8s. All right, so that's snugged up, not super tight, and kind of pretty much rough mocked here. So now it's just a matter of working from this point back until I got to do my freaking exhaust, that is. All right, so I'm gonna try to get this back portion of the drive shaft in. Now that's there. Try to get this dead center top, even though it may be doing me no justice. I really gotta push to get this thing on. Wow. There we go. Come on. Woo. All right. Now before I push it too far, what I do want to do is use this Zerk fitting and put some grease in there. Then I'll slide it in and I can grease it up some more later. All right. Come on. There we go. I definitely got some in there. All right, get it the rest of the way. All right, so that's in there. Now, what I'd like to do is get the rear end. So what sucks here is I had this all of this stuff looking super clean, but the leaks from the rear diff, the freaking leak from the transmission, fuel, all of that stuff is pretty much just took away all the purtiness to the job. But one thing for sure, this thing is brand spanking new. I guess the salt, I mean, and plus I thought it was protected, but it wasn't. I should have painted it, but I'll come back and I'll paint this later. Now let's see if this thing will actually drop in, because sometimes with these, I have to get the wheels to kind of be lowered or put up at a certain angle to get it to fit. But because I left everything loose, I have more than enough room to play. Oh, come on. There we go. Let me see if the other side's clear. Beautiful. That is in. So I can start tightening up these bolts and call it a day. Call it a day. No! Spin around. Oh, why does it only want to go one way? It's so weird. Oh, what the what? Bro. Dude, why does this always happen when I try to turn it from the absolute rear? It gives me the hardest time ever, and I don't know why. Oh, duh, because the wheels aren't moving. Why am I have problems, man. Okay, so here's my little mini workstation I got going on here in the back of my truck, still working on the street, but this is the next day. The two pieces pretty much in there. Got the front portion in, got the, what's that thing called? The cross member in, got the carrier bearing bolted on to the carrier cross member, and got the rear section of the drive shaft installed. So I still have to go back and final tighten those things, but they're in place. So what I'm seeing is going to be the issue, is that the way that I currently had the exhaust set up, it was a friendly setup for my one-piece drive shaft. Issue is exactly where the cross member goes up into the frame is where the girth of the exhaust, what's this thing called? The girth of the muffler is right there. So I wasn't able to install it because these would stop it and it would hit this, and there's no way of getting any more flex to push upward. So either it was hitting on one side, which was the passenger side, it was hitting the cross member for the transmission, so I couldn't go up any higher. On the other side, I had a little more forgiveness, but it still was too much. So now what I'm going to do is try to get the muffler to fit from right where the header is, and hopefully the muffler stops where the carrier bearing cross member is, and then I'll just run the rest of the existing pipe out. That's the plan. Not sure if it's going to work, but in order to even do that, one thing that does suck is separating exhaust, especially when you use clamps, which is not the best thing. Of course, the end all be all is welding, but I try to use band clamps to get them to go, but they don't always work the best. Like, for example, so this is supposed to take a 2.5-inch inner diameter pipe and bring it down with this step to a 2.5-inch outer diameter pipe. It's still not that snug, because one thing I noticed is these are all of the mufflers that I dealt with. This is the Flowmaster FX. Love the sound of the muffler. Great muffler, only 50 bucks. And I also have I forgot what the other muffler is that I have, but they're the same body, same setup, and I noticed the same thing with that. The outer diameter definitely seems like it's way larger than just enough to accommodate in 2.5-inch inner diameter tube. So these are like a lot wider. Anyway, I'm gonna try to disconnect this stuff and see if I can get it in. And also, here's a testament to the fight to people up here. This is salt from the previous storms we had. This is how much it gets up into your stuff, regardless of how stainless or whatever it is. This is what it does, and it's wild because you can just see the powder just fall out and accumulate on the freaking tailgate. This is wild. so back up under this bad boy and just covering my bases here. So last time we saw this was yesterday when I was up under here. I got the tail shaft rebuilt, put that back up in there real quick. Then of course there's the first section of the drive shaft, looking pretty, and we go back and there it is, bolted into the cross member for the carrier bearing. They are not like tight yet. I still have to tighten those. And then same thing over here. I still have to tighten these. Actually bolting and finalizing the tightening on the carrier bearing cross member. And way back there is the rear section of it going into the rear diff. So I mean, we're almost home. Yeah, so I'm going to get to tighten that. So back to my dilemma here. I'm so pissed at how those headers are. I can't stand looking at it after I paid to get them ceramic coated, but that's another story. Anyway, the issue that I'm running into here, like I said, the way that the casing for the muffler was, it was in the way here, so it wasn't able to go up on here. So what I did was, I brought it right before it, and this is about as far as I want the muffler to go, about right here in front of the crossmember. So what I have to do is, I had a band clamp holding this section of pipe to this one. I'm just going to mark here, and it sucks because I don't even have a freaking Sharpie on me right now, which I always have a Sharpie. I'm just going to use a zip tie for now. Go around here and pretty much mark off where I want to cut on this pipe, so that way I can get it in the sleeve, and then once it's in that sleeve, I can tighten it up and then make the rest of the exhaust. Now the one that is going to be a bit of a pain is over on the passenger side, I'm sorry, driver side. That's closer to the street, so I can't really go too free willy over there on that side of the road. So I'm gonna try to do it from this side. Trunk's not up high enough, so I'm fighting that. Yeah. And also this is the side that has my what's that thing called? AFR gauge. The AFR gauge, the sensor goes into the pipe right there as well. So I'm gonna just knock this side out first, get it on, and then worry about the tailpipe, and then start over there, get that done, and hopefully still have a good portion of my day left. Okay, so now kind of mocking up on the driver side. So I got my, I mean, I didn't tap it in. You can kind of see where it needs to go right here. I'm trying to tap it in, but I'm not trying to beat my header up too much. So I'm going to kind of still get a rough idea, and then I can probably wiggle it in once I have some weight behind it without hammering it in there. So the goal now is to do what I did on the other side. Now here we are on the passenger side, and you can see where I stopped. Just so the exhaust can mirror each other as far as the exit point, what's stopping the exit point on my driver's side is the gas tank. And so pretty much this side, which is the driver's side, is going to dictate where and how long the exiting pipes are going to be. Once I figure out how long this side's going to be, I can cut one exactly the same and bring it over here, because on this side I'm free and clear as far as going to the back. There's nothing stopping me. There's nothing but open space back here. So yeah, I got it up over here. I'm going to do what I did on this side and pretty much mark it where I need to cut it in order to get it the same distance away from I'll use this as my reference point, same distance away from the carrier bearing crossmember. I just got to measure it out here, see how far it is back from the body up to here, and then once I get that, I'll do the same thing for this on this side over to here, and then that will let me know where I need to lock this thing off at. Okay, so that's it. Everything's tightened up on the rear as far as the cross member goes, as far as the drive shaft goes. And exhaust, I pretty much did the best I can for now. It's in. I'm not gonna be riding around open header, getting the cops called on me and my association complaining on me. Exhaust is as it was. Still got the 45-degree kick out, both sides. It clears, and I measured, like I said, once I had this side in place. I figured out how far I could go without running to interference into the gas tank, and pretty much did the same thing on this side, and that's it. So now I can drop this thing and keep it moving and test drive it. Hopefully when I drive it a few feet, nothing clanks or clunks or falls apart. Okay, so I took it on a test drive after the install, and I'm still getting noise. Well, more so a vibration than a noise, and I'm not surprised because, once again, like I said before, I gotta undo some of the things that I did in order to accommodate for a one-piece drive shaft. So one thing that I'm noticing for sure, just by eyeballing it, the second half of the drive shaft is definitely on an awkward angle. I have a 6-degree shim in the rear, bringing the snout down, and the transmission itself, the Driveline, because the Dirty Dingo allows me to kind of bring that up and down, is all the way up. So now with that being in there, the yoke, slip yoke, immediately coming out is kind of at a downward angle. Then it goes in that downward angle, kind of translates to the carrier bearing. And then from the carrier bearing, now that that's kind of at an odd angle, downward-ish, you have the snout pointing down. So you have the snout down and you have the opposite end down. So it's literally like a V, like from both sides, can't do it one hand. But yeah, 2 angles pointing down, no bueno. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hope that I can just put in the spacer that comes with this kit, which I'm about to show you shortly, and that'll correct me. But I get a feeling I'm still gonna have to put in the 2-degree shims that come with this kit. Okay, so here's the kit right here, and this is Beltec part number 4981. Why does that look blurry? But anyway, those are the instructions and stuff, and this is what it actually came with. So this here, which is the taller of the 2 spacers, this one is for the carrier bearing to raise that up some. And then it comes with the bolts, comes with the hardware, at least for this, that it comes with the bolts, it comes with the hardware, at least for this so far. Got a washer on each side and nuts on each end. So that's that taken care of, which I'm about to install now. Then also what it comes with is, here's the rest of it in here. This is the spacer that actually goes up under the transmission, between the transmission case and the, what's that called? And the transmission mount. This also has 2 bolts here that goes into the transmission case, holding the motor mount, the transmission mount on, and washers. So that takes care of that part about it, which I don't think we're going to need this because the Dirty Dingo's taking care of that. And also, last but not least, here's the 2-degree shims. These are going to sit in place, and they come with, what is that? Not only the shims, but they also come with the threads as well to go through your leaf spring. And these are nuts, but they're like tall extension nuts, which is interesting. But I haven't read through the paperwork yet. But one thing for sure, since I already have covered the transmission being raised because my Dirty Dingo allows that, I'm going to put this in and kind of give it a test drive. I don't have the facilities and whatnot. I'm kind of in a crunch. Can't put these in right now because that would require unbolting the U-bolts and getting the truck up in the air enough to let the rear suspension hang completely. Can't do that right now. So putting this bad boy in now. Okay, so we're going to start from the front. This here, again, that's the Dirty Dingo crossmember, which gives me the ability to bring this thing up and down. It's already up because of how I had it before. So the spacer that comes with this kit that you would use with your factory crossmember, I pretty much already have one with this Dirty Dingo. So let's work our way back. Then you come here. Here's the carrier bearing, center support. Now here's where it kind of gets a little interesting. So because of the way that this is now with the front angle where the transmission is, so at this point, this section here is pointing downward. And so is the rear diff. The rear diff is also pointing downward. So that's not good. So now, since this is down, hopefully adding this spacer here is going to bring this up. And once that does that, I'm hoping that that definitely makes the vibration a bit better, but it may not be the cure-all until I put the 2-degree shims in the rear, but we're gonna give it a test drive afterward and see. So my next point, there are instructions that comes with this that tells you that you do have to cut a section out of the body, kind of the molding, bracing down here on the body. That has to be removed with the kit. Now, it doesn't have to be as extreme as this. I had to take this out because I lowered the truck on a huge one-piece drive shaft. So I already have plenty of clearance there. So now, I don't have to worry about that either. So the thing I have to worry about is just getting the spacer in, and let's see what happens with that. All right, so let's start getting this thing loose and going from there. And my life isn't that simple, so I'm just waiting to see what's going to foil my plans like a freaking evil villain. So hopefully I can just slide this over to the side and it's that easy, or even lift, let's see, and keep my life pushing. All right, this is harder than it looks, especially on the ground, but hold on. That's just me being a bum. Come on, don't do that to me. No. Ow. Crap. All right, let me just try to move this to the side. How's about that? For now. Nope, that ain't gonna work. All right. Let me get directly under and lay eyes from the bottom. All right, somewhat sitting in place here. Now, fucking gingerly get it started, and I'm probably gonna go with the furthest away from me. You know what? Good moment. Rest in peace to my homie Ed, which taught me pretty much almost everything I know. Well, not everything, but a lot of stuff I knew about cars. He introduced me to this. He would tell me and I didn't get the joke. I'd say, hey, I can't find the hole. And he'd be like, well, I bet you if I put some hair around it, you'll find it. And it didn't make sense. And then he refused to tell me what it meant. I had to wait until 2 days later where I figured it out playing Grand Theft Auto at home. There we go. First one in. Woo! Okay, both are in, kind of in a rough draft. Let's take a peek. Oh shoot, let me tighten them up first. How about that? How about that? Wait, is this even a 16 or is it a 15? 16. Perfecto. All right, boom, now it's tight. Okay, so here's the better angle. Now, with that being said, that corrected a lot, actually. I gotta give it credit. I mean, well, gotta give this whole kit credit. It's just that I personally don't need the other part because I have the whatever. But anyway, looking here, the angle on the drive shaft is not anywhere near as, the angle isn't as much as it was when the spacer wasn't in there. It definitely corrected it for sure. Got a slight angle on it, which is perfect. Then you move back here with the spacer, and now this has an upward angle to it. And the rear diff still has the downward angle. So now we have opposing angle, which you're supposed to have. So at this point, I'm just hoping that that's all I need. But like I said, I highly doubt it. I'm gonna have to get those 6-degree shims out of the rear axle. Actually, you can see it right there. Right in between the U-bolts, you see my shim. And it's 6 degrees. The one that came with this kit are 2 degrees. So hopefully it's not too bad. Like I said, I will go back and do that, but I just can't do it today. But let's see how it drives. All right, so here's the climb. I use this. This is the angle finder. It is magnetic, but the thing is when you're dealing with aluminum, of course, it's not going to stick. But yeah, you can kind of get a rough draft. So here's the Vortec. This came with the kit that I showed you guys earlier. I'm going to be putting this in, and this is the part number for it. With the 4-inch rear drop, this is what they recommend. That's why it's part of their kit. 2-degree shims. So these got a pretty decent design that kind of makes it a little easier to install these. Similar to the Western chassis, the oversized hole, which you're not using this front hole obviously, but the oversized hole allows you to be able to replace these, take them on and off, as long as you have a spacer on your leaf pack bolt, then you can just replace them and call it a day. So this would just slide into place. But anyway, let's see what this one is. Try to bring it to the similar spot. And if you leave it alone, it's on the money. It's 2. So that has 2.1 now, but I just had 2 like not too long ago. I'm quite sure if I moved it a little bit, and then we'll go back to being just flat 2. There it is. So 2 degrees on these. Super accurate. I mean, usually with these, they don't come this accurate. They'll usually be like a little bit off. But as long as you're really close in the ballpark, you're fine. And just to swap out, this is the other brand I grabbed because me being Mr. Extra, afraid that I might need some for a little axle climb. Old school number is like 3 degrees off from what you have, so when you go full throttle, you'll come up to the angle that you're supposed to be at. But as of right now, I bought 2.5s, and these are 2.5 on the dot. So these are the ones that are going to go in. I might kick myself later. Who knows if the half degree will be a problem, but I guess we'll see. All right, so quick look, we under the truck. About to change out the shims, and like I said before, the 6 degrees, you can't see them from here, but the 6 degrees are in now, and about to put in the 2.5s. Now I had to take off the bottoms. I was hoping I didn't have to do that, but if I had longer U-bolts, which I did, but I trimmed them down because they were way too long, I probably could have got away with being kind of lazy and not taking off the bottom cap, but just took those off. Had to take the sway bar, had to disconnect that from the frame up front on both sides so that the whole rear end could have enough hang. And I was hoping that I'd still have enough hang without taking off the shocks with it being lowered, but no, it's not. So now I have to take off the shocks so that way I can get it to drop and release those shims. Okay, so here we are. That did the trick. Got it lowered. Bolts is out, like I said. Once I took those out, that let it hang enough. Oh, let me go on this side without the sun. That let it hang enough to give me some separation so I can put in the new shims. There's a 6 degree on that one. That side fell out. And this side, it's right there, still kind of like pressed up on there. So I'm just going to pull those out, probably clean a little in there, put a little paint in there maybe, and get the 2 degrees in. Okay, so quick comparison again. This is the 6 degree shim I had in there. Once again, this was to try to accommodate the one-piece drive shaft I had, and this is the 2.5. Like I said, the Vortec came with 2s, but I figured, well, you know, 1/2 inch wouldn't hurt. Especially because, once again, talking about when you're under full acceleration and having axle wrap, of course I have cow tracks, yes, to try to combat it, but it doesn't completely get rid of it. And truthfully, I mean, old school saying it's supposed to be, you know, 3 degrees off, so when you mash it, it'll come up. But I'm kind of torn. I don't know, so I'm just going to go on my gut and just put these 2.5s. They may not be making a difference. They may. I don't know. But anyway, one thing to consider is the amount of geometry that this type stuff changes that I'm not sure if too many people, well, you know what, I'm quite sure they do talk about it if you're looking, but nobody wants to hear it. Long story short, this here, when it comes to doing this, once you start changing the pinion angle, you start changing the location of your shock mounts as well. So for example, this truck naturally, with the purchase of, what's this thing called? The purchase for the leaf spring, it automatically puts this snout of this rear diff, it puts the snout kind of in the air. I want to say it's about 8 degrees, maybe 9 up, something like that. But anyway, that's from the factory height, so on and so forth. So with me putting these shims in, I didn't have the big part to the back, because at that point that would have raised the snout even more. I had it vice versa, so that way I can try to flatten it out, and that was to bring the snout down. So I didn't do an axle flip because I am not that low. So once again, I'll install these the same way, and when I do, the big part is going to go to the front, just like on these. So test fit, something that I mentioned before. That's another thing when I was looking for these, I didn't want one of these that had like a small hole that was only the diameter of the bolt itself. As you can see, there's like a spacer in there, so it gives you that extra length to go through wedges. Now, this is the one from Western Chassis that I took off, and it has a really oversized hole, so that way I can do what I just did. I can just drop it, swap out, push this in, drop it in, call it a day. I don't have to keep taking the bolt out of the freaking leaf pack and having it fit on this, so this is bolted to the leaf pack, and anytime I want to change it, I got to take the whole leaf pack bolt out. It's too much. So this company from Amazon, this one fits perfect. Once again, oversized hole. It slips right onto the dowel like so. Let's see. Boom, and there it is. So all I got to do is just jack the rear end back up, get it aligned in the holes here, and put it back together. All right, I think we're good. There we go on this side. You can kind of see it right there. Tightened up the bottom of the U-bolts, both sides. Let's see. And over this side, same thing. I'm just gonna go over and tighten up that sway bar link a little more, but yeah, I'm pretty much done. It just sucks because I put so much effort into like trying to get the undercarriage to actually look like something, but I mean, combating leaks where it leaks from somewhere else, then you fix it, then it comes from somewhere else, you fix it. I'm pretty much on top of all of the leaks now. The only thing left is up, and that is the front main seal. I'll get to that. But also combating this salt, man. I mean, I'm the idiot that decides to try to have a freaking daily hot rod with freaking and driving it through all kinds of weather, but it's the name of the game. You know, can't complain. You gotta try to push through. Need to get a good washing up under this thing to wash all that salt out, and then probably wipe some stuff down with like some penetrating oil. But all right, I mean, that's it. Another day, folks. Good morning. Before I go on this test drive and see if I can go up and redline it and all that in third gear, because that's the main point, is I want to make sure that when I go on this dyno I don't show up super raggedy. But got to take one of the dogs from the rescue to the to get her tests and stuff done. Freaking Eloise, Ellie. Yeah, but once I go over there and get that out of the way, then I can I got some time to try to like make some passes and see what happens. All right, so drop it down to 3. And let's see how far I can get up into RPMs. Hopefully, the goal is to be able to redline and not have the truck feel like it's gonna fall apart. Redline and not feel like the truck is gonna fall apart. That's the goal. As long as I can do that, then I can go to the dyno and be fine. All right. Baby, we good. We are good. Dyno, here I come. Okay, test numero uno, burnouts. I definitely say if you can do burnouts, everything's fine. Everything's fine. I'm quite sure. You do burnouts, everything's fine.
Yeah, buddy. Lightweight.
So, after success with being able to redline, no issue with the Driveline, no wild vibrations. Of course, when I threw it into 4th gear, that's when I started to get some vibrations. But like I said from the beginning, when I actually did the whole overhaul on this drive shaft, I'm going to need to take it somewhere because I didn't take into consideration the point where I separated the 2 drive shafts. So yeah, I'm pretty much going to pay the price for that one. So I do have to go and take it at some point to go over to a drive shaft shop and have them rebalance it together. And once that's done, then I should be good to go. But as of right now, this job is more than enough for me to be able to go on the dyno and make pulls and actually have them be smooth pulls. And that was pretty much the goal. So the dyno shop that we're going to, man, we're in Bristol, PA. These guys deal with old school cars, carbureted. I mean, they deal with a lot of stuff, but they haven't got into the computer tuning yet, which is completely fine because I'm not, the computer tuning, I don't need them to do that. It's just, once again, trying to show and prove what these modifications do and how it translates to real world numbers. So hopefully I can develop a good rapport with them because, I mean, they're going to be getting money out of me constantly because after certain modifications, I'm going to want to know what they did. So, of course, after the PCM swap and getting that done and dealt with, going to see what that does. And then after doing that, I have to still do the intake, the marine intake. I still have to put the BBK throttle body on. I still have the 1.6 roller rockers. And on top of that, I still have the springs, the beehive springs. So once those things go on, I'm going to pay them another visit, see what that does. But here they are. All right, people, it seems like it's not much to it now at this point. Just gotta get on out of here. Okay, so I talked to him. He definitely reminded me that they don't have the what was I gonna say? Like the computer capability to tune, which is completely fine. And I was letting them know, like, you know, that's not what I need right now. I just literally need the chassis dyno just to get a baseline. And so he understood that I just have to go give him the what is that called? Put it on the dyno as it is, and then once I get it on as is, then I have to, of course, I had a PCM with me, swap it out real quick while I'm on the dyno, make some more pulls, see what it does. Other than that, he did say that they need some sort of a port to tie into, which is fine because, I mean, I have freaking 3 to choose from. So the first 2 kind of aren't an option because they're hooked to the computer so that the computer can do what it's supposed to do. So those are the front O2 sensors. The AFR gauge that I have, though, that's a different story. That's not going to affect the computer's reading. So I'll just unscrew the AFR gauge so that way they can screw in the sensor, and that'll pretty much be it. So we'll be good to go. All right, so that's it for this one, y'all. It's gonna be hopefully pretty fun. I don't have my hopes set super high because I'm being realistic with myself, but I've seen before where some people just off tune alone with the Vortec, they've gotten like 20 horsepower, somewhere around there. But of course that also depends, you know, different mileage of your engine, all kinds of stuff can take, you know, into consideration as to how that happens. So we'll see what happens, and hopefully I can get it done soon. But all right, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.